as a probably. Oh, that camera's really bright. There you go. It's actually it's quite sharp. Hello,
Yeah, it does
everyone.
well. Yeah, it is.
It works. Actually, no, that's way too bright. I'm turning it down. That's horrendously too bright. That's not even that much better. Anyways, I digress. Probably should have done that before we went live. But anyway, hello everyone. Hello everyone. We're not talking about a hotel that's based on top of the Bunnings this week, so I guess you can call it an improvement. But hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Rest. I'm your host, Aris Matakos. I'm joined by Nathan, as always, and it's been a very interesting week. Finally, after what was it, 7 weeks? We are slightly disappointed we're not speaking about Carlton, just slightly, because although we won, it wasn't. Let's just settle a little bit. But how are you, my friend? What are your thoughts? Brief thoughts on the game on Sunday, and then your overall weekend. What did you get up to?
Well, same weekend as always, catching up on the 18s footy. It was actually terrible weather. Actually, not terrible weather, but the wind. Jeez,
Yeah.
I'm very lucky I got a car spot, on the wing. So I could watch from my car, which was terrific.
Very good.
Saved the Saturday completely. And then, Sunday. Well, good to get back on the winners list. Enjoyable. It's always good when it's just a Carlton crowd because you can relax. You can say whatever you want most of the time.
Yeah.
In reason.
Can't complain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So pretty good weekend. Would call it a success. So can only pray it continues like that for the next game.
Yes, that would be handy. Of course, no car this week, so we do have the bye, which I guess we'll touch on briefly, just purely for completion's sake, just briefly. But I obviously went on Sunday, which was good. We finally got to see some goals, which is I forgot what they looked like. So that's obviously good. But no, cricket was on as well. I'm horrendously tired because I fell asleep. Oh no, I didn't fall asleep. I didn't sleep because I watched the whole day yesterday, and my sleep schedule suffering for it. But we move, and luckily, it's a week. I think it's a week until the next test. So there we go. But let's crack on as people roll in. Let's crack on and let's actually start the show properly. Got a couple of things to speak on. Obviously, we'll do our buy round assessments. Our buy round assessments for the teams having the buy at the back end of the show. Obviously, some interesting news regarding the Bombers, which we'll touch on, Freo and where they sit, but we'll touch on as well. But to start things off, let's have a little bit of Brownlow chat. As people come in. We will be touching. We will be touching on Port Adelaide. They do have the bye this week, so we'll be touching on them and whether or not this statement by, I'm assuming it's Joe, is accurate or not. But yeah, let's kick things off with a bit of Brownlow chat. Taranto, Butters, Dacos, arguably the three favourites. Tracks there, Bonds there. Your usual suspects would be floating around. Probably Oliver would have been there if he didn't miss 4 weeks. It's a weird kind of, because I don't think many people would have had these three players in their Brownlow contentions pre-season. Maybe Dacos, the exception to that a little bit. Maybe some Collingwood supporters drinking the Kool-Aid pre-season. But all three have had an exceptional season. Dacos obviously had the better start. Taranto floated under the radar, and Butters has come into the fold in the last month and a half, really, ever since Port have gone on that run. Was it 9? More than 9. I think it might have been 10 in a row. So, this is going to be a really interesting Brownlow count. The AFL predictor has Butters leading with Taranto in second and Dacos in third, but Dacos obviously having a game in hand because both Port and the Tigers have the bye. Where do you sit? Where do you sit with this? Because where do you sit with these three? Because I think this could be very tense come Brownlow night. Very tense come Brownlow night.
Well, if you were to go off form, you would probably back in Butters, just purely the way he's going
about things.
It's such a tough battle because Taranto as well. You feel like without Taranto, Richmond's midfield doesn't function. He's the centerpiece of how they go at their football. He will always get the touches and usually do the right thing with the ball when he has it. But you could also say the same with Dacos and Collingwood. So it's a It's a tough one. I'm most enjoying watching Butters play at the moment. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
swaying towards Butters. But I think in terms of what each player provides to their team and the likelihood of them probably racking up the votes based on what they have to do for their team, I would say Taranto in that respect. So Dacos, I feel like the team is going so well where I don't know. I feel like there's
people
more
could take
players to
point.
take a few more
Yeah, yeah.
votes. I think, but we said that with Cripps though, but it didn't really happen. Like it never really was the case.
Yeah, I think it goes down to the type of player though, right? Because
Yeah,
Cripps was having 30 and kicking a couple. I don't know Dacos is as
yeah,
well, but Cripps just seemed a little bit more influential, probably more contested touches, probably being more of a clearance player helps with that. I think if we'll go through each player and just kind of give the summation of them, we'll start with Taranto. Coming in pre-season, him and Hopper were kind of meant to be leading that Richmond midfield, hopefully to a maybe one last flag tilt with an aging Cochin, Martin, and Revold, and etc. Hasn't worked out that way. They still could make finals. They're having a pretty good run at the moment, beating the Saints on the weekend, in which Taranto probably racks up the three as well. I think he had 38 and kicked the goal. So, and the match winner in that as well. Yeah, I mean, Kane Corns obviously said he's not a top 150 player in the comp, which like is a fucking bold statement. It's wrong. I think it's obviously wrong, but I think it's a weird one with Taranto because he gets a lot of it, impacts a lot, but he also butchers it. Like similarly on the weekend, I think he had something like 11 clangers on the weekend. So he isn't the cleanest player with the ball. Maybe out of the three, you'd look at someone like a Dacos as your more kind of silky, kind of Rolls Royce operator off half back, whereas Taranto is your more get the ball, see ball, get ball, kick ball far, and get clearances and kick goals. What do you? Obviously, you said I agree with your point about him being the centerpiece in that midfield. Without him, that midfield don't function. And I think he's in a position where no one else is taking votes off him. He's gone under the radar in the first like month, 2 months of the season. Has really come into his own in this ever since like McQuarter has taken over. He's really elevated his game. He can bulk goals as well. I think he kicked 4 goals against Port. Like
yeah.
It's a really weird one. It's because I don't think many people. Everyone's kind of thinking Dacos or Butters, and then Toronto's just being very unassuming, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I can agree with that statement. It is hard to look past him because, like, you would probably argue that Butters and Dacos have had the better seasons in terms of just like what they've provided. I guess Butters probably stands out against both of them because you knew the potential, but he hadn't really been able to show it completely, at least consistently. Yeah, Taranto, it's like you sort of expect it. Like he's there to do that.
Yeah. And that's what he was brought in to do. Obviously, he played forward a bit at the Giants as well. So, like, pushing forward and kicking goals is part of his repertoire.
Dacos, that's so tough to pick because you could because Dacos is also another that could just go on and have another 10 more 3-vote performances.
Yeah. Well, the thing is with the thing is with Dacos, we don't know how the umpires are going to traditionally. I don't know why. Yeah, why I don't know how to explain this. I don't know how the umpires are going to officiate this or give the votes because traditionally, was it Cripps, Wines, Neil, Fife, Mitchell, Martin, Dangerfield, Fife, and then 14 was Pritis. The last 10 have been inside midfielders, basically. Right?
You've just listed that like it was nothing. That's quite impressive.
Okay, let's rattle them off. Ablett in 13, 12 was Watson, Koch, and Mitchell, so 3 inside midfielders there. Judd, Swan, inside midfielders. Cooney in 09. I was too young to remember Cooney. Anyways, anyway, you telling me you can't rattle off Brownlow Medal?
No, not Brownlow. I don't remember. Like I don't remember. I could tell you grand finals and the results, but not like Brownlow medalists. Nah, I just that's a. I don't like. I forget them. The next season, next season comes.
No,
Cool.
No, I'm like that. Norm Smiths. Don't even ask me. I cannot remember.
Well, that as well. You could probably take a guess though, based off the grand final, who won it though.
Yeah, because it's only been
Like
like
I tell you
three.
2017, and you would just tell me it's
Yeah,
Dustin
yeah,
Martin.
yeah.
So
But because there's been like three who've lost, who've won it in a
yeah,
losing game. Anyways, getting sidetracked. That's unlike us.
that's unlike us. Yeah,
Yeah, that's the. Anyways, yeah. So anyway, like the last 10 have been inside midfielders, basically, right? And players who have been able to kind of push forward to kick goals, especially like your Martins, your Fifes, Cripps as well. Last year was able to get on the scoreboard, especially early on in the year. So that would lean towards your Taranto and Butters kind of player. Butters being a little bit more explosive, better ball user, playing a little bit more on the outside, and Dacos being almost a pure outside footballer. It's quite funny how you have Taranto, who's like it's funny how like you have Taranto, Butters, and Dacos all kind of fit along the spectrum. If you could pick the best player, like if you could pick the Brownlow Medal winner without looking at the games out of these three, right now, who would it be?
what you're saying without just looking
Looking,
at the
yeah,
player.
yeah.
I
Okay, yeah, okay. Two pronged question. If you were an umpire, who would you tend to give votes to, and what do you think the current umpires would go with?
Nah, see, my mind straight away went to Dacos, if anything.
Really?
Because the name's there as well. Like, I do think
Uh,
that plays into it a little bit. Like,
well, I mean, people. Yeah, I mean, if took like people like took Miller last year in particular, if he was playing Victoria, if he was playing at a club that was slightly better,
yeah,
would he have done a little bit better in terms of poll, in terms of votes? Do you really go with Dacos?
yeah, possibly. Yeah, I don't know. Taranto, I just feel like if you gave me Taranto and Dacos, I mean, I don't look at Taranto and think, geez, he's probably going to have a 3-vote game today. Like, whereas you think about Dacos and you're like, okay, he'll put out a 3-vote game.
So, do you think Dacos has more impact on games than Toronto?
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I do. Like, think about a non-Dacos Collingwood. And you know how you do think about it? You think about 2021 when they finished 17th.
Yeah, fair. No, fair enough. Fair enough, I
So
guess. But
Toronto's terrific. Like
yeah,
but yeah, Dacos, like, he turned that team around. Not completely, but like
yeah. I mean,
there's a significant hole left without him.
yeah. Even last year, first year wasn't really playing at the level that he was this year, and he was still able to impact quite well. You really, well, that's interesting. I would go the complete opposite, and maybe that's a little bit of bias coming my way. But to like, I'll be interesting to look at the stats in terms of kind of contested possessions and clangers and disposal efficiency because I don't have them on hand right now. But I think
I've got Taranto's, but there's no disposal efficiency. I can't seem to find it.
what
There's not.
why clangers or like contested touches.
No, like, I don't know, but I'm on the AF, like, just his profile. There's only gives you disposals, kicks, handballs, marks, tackles, clearances,
Right.
fantasy points, and I just can't figure out how to change those
Yeah.
stats
Fair.
for now.
So you would pick Dacos if you
Yeah,
would tend to give more votes to Dacos. Who do you think the umpires would give more votes to?
still Dacos.
Really?
Yeah, I just
That's interesting.
if you put those three in a game, I would still think he would stand out the most because Dacos does it across 4 quarters. I mean, both do, but you notice Dacos in every single quarter that he plays. More so, you
Yeah.
notice the quarters he doesn't play well in. With Butters and Taranto, you don't say, yeah,
No,
Butters didn't touch it much that quarter.
Look, with the things with Butters and Taranto is I think they have the ability to completely change a game. To
Yeah,
completely change a game off their own boot. And they can get the ball from the middle, win a clearance, kick the ball forward, and then follow up their own pill and kick a goal from that resulting clearance. Dacos, I feel like I wouldn't say he requires the system to do well, but I feel like if Dacos was playing in a worse team, he wouldn't have the same amount of output that Taranto or Butters have had. I know Butters is playing in arguably the equal match to Collingwood so far this year. Taranto's been doing it at a club that's been underperforming big time. He's basically on his own in that midfield, on his own in that team. and he's still having, in my opinion, a bigger impact on games than Nick Dacos is.
Yeah, no, that's a fair call. Yeah, like I can understand where you're coming from, because Dacos does work well under that Collingwood system. I don't know if you put him into another team, if he would have the same impact. I think he'd still have the skill, but his game works because Collingwood system works as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
I can see both sides of it.
Like, yeah, I think Dacos is going to get stiffed. Personally, I don't think he's going to win it, but I think come Brownlow night, there is a big possibility that Dacos is going to get stiffed big time based on votes. Because, look, like I said, the last 10 Brownlows have basically all been inside midfielders. The last non-inside midfielder that won a Brownlow, I can't remember what Cooney was exactly, but like Cooney and Bartel, Goods, right? They're probably like the last couple. I mean, Cousins as well, but I mean, that's getting beyond my ear, right? So, like, yeah, I think Dacos is going to get stiffed come Brownlow night, personally, because I think there are games where he potentially racks up a lot of the pill, racks up quite a lot of touches, but because he doesn't have that, wow, what a clearance, wow, what a kick inside 50. He just does all the basics, all the fundamentals really well. He doesn't have that eye-catching performance. Also, like, I know it's all Nick Dacos gets cheap touches. He does have a lot of touches from kick-ins, right? Like some of his touches are from kick-ins, right? Whereas Taranto and Butters, basically all of their touches are in the forward half, right? Or at least in a contest. So I think you have to take that into consideration as well. Like I can't remember the last defensively minded footballer to win a Brownlow. And Dacos naturally, because he plays a halfback for the majority of the time. I know he goes up and kicks goals, but he's a more defensively positioned and defensively minded footballer. I would think it's between Taranto and Butters, purely because of how I think the umpires will give votes out. I think Taranto is within a shot. I think Taranto is the favourite right now. I think Taranto's the favourite right now. Personally,
I just think the Dacos name plays a lot into it. Because
it'd be a good story. Yeah, it'd be a good story. Yeah,
that's.
I mean, we all know the Brownlow Medal isn't exactly the highest of integrity. I mean, based off last year.
Yeah, well,
allegedly, of course. I think just to say that. just covering my back. So anyway, before we move on, I mentioned something pre-show to you though, which I wanted to bring up. So the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because I was scouring the old betting machine, Gamble Responsibly Kids, and I was like, what is Team Taranto paying? I saw Team Taranto paying $7.35 to win the Brownlow Medal, and he's currently leading the AFL Brownlow predictor. 3 votes on the weekend again. I was like, yeah, that's good odds. But I was like, I don't really want to put like just Taranto, because that means I'd have to put like quite a bit amount of money to actually get some decent coin back. So I can't bother. So I was like, let me try and figure out a multi in which I can kind of up the odds a bit. This to me, I'm gonna be in bank come September, and the reason why. So the multi, 5 legs, gamble responsibly, and B, you can feel free to hop on this if you would like. Team Taranto to win the Brownlow Medal.
Yeah.
Will Ashcroft to win the Rising Star.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Charlie Kerner to win the Coleman Medal.
Yeah.
St Kilda and Adelaide to both make finals.
Yeah. Okay. Well, sure. You know what I will say about one of those teams, but
you said they'll make finals. You said they'll make finals because they'll win all their home games.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Sure. Then
paying $139, $10 on it, $1,400 return. That is unbelievable.
That is a good payout for
5 legs.
Well.
That will happen. That will happen.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. It could. It all could. I would say Will Ashcroft winning. It is.
He will 100%. He will win the Rising Star.
Nah, I'm still back in my preseason with Sheasel.
No, surely not. You can't.
Well, to be fair, Will has come into a team that's come off a prelim final.
Yeah, and he's really good.
Yeah, and Sheasel's come into a team that, has done nothing in the last couple of years and has plays right. But we're forgetting Mitch Owens is he's in that running as well. I think.
Look, if Bailey Humphrey, George Wardlaw, these players played earlier on in the season, I think it'd be a different story.
George Wardlaw is a beast. He was the best player I saw last year. He was he probably would have gone number one in a normal year. If Ashcroft wasn't linked and GWS didn't, he's very, very talented.
Wardlaw's a freak. And Bailey Humphrey can play football as well. So I think Ashcroft's going to win it. And I can't wait for Adelaide and St Kilda to both make finals if you could have egg on your face because that's going to be great.
Maybe we can split the money and
no chance. Absolutely. You know what? I'll give you 5% if it gets up.
Oh yeah, I'll take it.
Okay, good. I don't know what 5% of 1,400 is. I didn't do VCE math, so there you go. But rounding out this, if you were to predict who's going to win at the end of the year, may as well since we're here. Also bearing in mind that I reckon at least one of these players is going to get suspended for a dangerous tackle, guaranteed. Guaranteed. I don't know who, but at least one of them will.
I seriously can't look past Dacos. I just think everything will fall in place. I feel like umpires will be swayed, especially towards the end. Oh, can you imagine the last couple of rounds? You're telling me these blokes don't go on AFL Brownlow Predictor once in a while and just sort of see where it's at?
Yeah, they could.
Come on.
Look, allegedly, of course.
Yeah, well...
Yeah, no, I don't know. Do you reckon they keep the integrity? I think Taranto's going to win it, but Butters is a freak.
Yeah, he's been the best in terms of a player to watch.
Yeah, Butters has probably had the best game out of these three. The game against Melbourne, that game was unreal. That was the best game. Yeah. So look, I guess we'll have to come back here in 4 months' time and say maybe we're both wrong, and maybe Butters will win it, and then we can both be abused for our shit predictions. Let's move on. Second talking point, Freo. Briefly, or however long this kind of comes into play for, because they're in a bit of a very weird situation. Because poor start, found some form. Everyone's like, all right, Freo are back, and then they got pelted by the Giants, absolutely destroyed. It was a footballing lesson on Saturday afternoon. It was a scintillating to watch at times, but also quite concerning and embarrassing for Freo. Where are they? Where are they? Because are they a finals contender? Are they not? Because they're just so the jury's still out drastically on them. I don't know whether or not they're going to be able to turn it around, because I feel like they're relying heavily on about 4 players. And if those 4 players don't play well, especially in the forward half of the ground, they've got nothing.
I can't figure out what's going wrong with them, because I'm not sure if it was just complacency coming into the season that it was just going to happen. And, I've said a couple of times now, people just I feel like they went completely under the radar, that it was just literally come to find out, Freo finished 5th. How did,
Yeah. They were 2 points off second. If we'd been Collingwood in the last
that just baffled me completely, that they were great last year, but I still can't believe they finished 5th.
Yeah.
Just like that. So I'm not sure whether it's teams figuring them out, if it is just simply complacency, that they just thought it was going to happen again, that you can only improve. It just hasn't happened, and it's weird because I guess you compare to Carlton. At least they said, oh, okay, we made finals, we know we're capable of this.
Yeah.
So even if even if we're at our lowest point, we know that our potential is this. We've got something to work towards. It just hasn't clicked, and starting your season 0-2 as well. I know it's a long time ago, but that it always puts you on the back foot. You're always playing catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in a lot of. I don't know if they've gone backwards or they've
Just
just sort of.
stagnated.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not really too sure what the verdict on that is, but I don't really. I mean, I don't think anything will come out of this season for them. They'll probably finish ninth or 10th, like because you'd
Yeah,
assume they'll pull some wins together, especially in Perth. But they're not like you'd assume mentally they're not there this season. By now, you can usually tell. You can just see
yeah.
if a team there's either season's done, could make finals, but you probably know you're going to lose too many. Possibly going to
Well,
make finals, and then anything above is just who knows most of
you're
the
in.
time.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but yeah,
yeah. Well,
not too good.
well. Oh, their losses, right? Start of the season, St Kilda at Marvel, probably not the worst defeat in the world, right? Considering where they are, St Kilda currently fifth, right? 1 point outside the top, or one game outside the top four. North by a point over there. Probably shouldn't be in a position where you're down against North at any stretch, especially at home. But they probably should have got a free kick on the side, which would have at least tied it. You'd think. Obviously, not an excuse, but probably more just a fact of like, all right, it wasn't. It wasn't a oh my god, they lost to North. They're bad type of loss. One in the Derby quite convincingly. They lost by 40 points in Adelaide against Adelaide. Obviously, not the worst result considering they beat the Suns in Norwood at Gather Round. So now you start to think, all right, Freya kind of like back clawing back to where they probably should be, right? Then the loss to the Dogs at home was probably the most disappointing result of the season, probably barring Saturday. They lost at the Gabba, not the worst thing in the world, and then not the worst thing in the world. They won four in a row: Hawthorn, Sydney, Geelong, Melbourne. Like good wins, especially the Geelong one, 5 goal win at home against Cats, good win, right? And then just two disappointing losses against Richmond and the Giants. It is very much a peaks are probably where they were last year. The troughs are arguably so far. It's like not arguably so far down below, right?
Yeah,
So I think it kind of averages out to being maybe 15-20% worse than last year. But I mean, when you look at the players that they lost, not Jackson, Logue, Lob, Akers as well, 3 players who were pretty integral to their season last year. And I think losing Taberner through injury has put the onus on Jaimius, who I think is a star. I think he's really good. But I mean, we saw he kicked 4 against the Tigers and had no impact on the weekend. I know he was up against Sam Taylor, who's arguably top 3 key defenders in the comp, right? And the Giants have a fantastic system that have had that no key forward has been able to really get a hold of them this season, right? So I understand those factors are there, but I mean the midfield is very reliant on Sarong and Brayshaw. Fife hasn't been able to find his form back as a forward or as a midfielder. Jackson is proving himself to be a pretty good acquisition, especially since Darcy has gone down. He's been able to take that number 1 ruck spot and kind of hold his own, relatively speaking. But I just feel like the losses of last year have heavily impacted their ability to play their system, and I think their system has been found out and they haven't been able to improve it. Obviously, they went through that period at the start of the season where they were really slow, really patient. Obviously, what was it? Luke Ryan had 40 touches in round 1 because he had 65 uncontested marks or whatever it was. And obviously, they've started to be a little bit more quicker moving the ball forward. Still haven't been able to convert inside 50, but I think they're too far behind the 8 ball at this stage for them to claw it back. I think the losses early on in the season have cost them big time. They're just too far back now.
yeah, I'd agree with that. You've summed that up pretty well. I actually do not have any more to add on that matter. They're too far back. They'll push, like they'll be like with 2-3 rounds left, there'll be a chance, but like deep down, you just know like it's not actually going to happen.
Yeah, I think they've been stiffed by their home games because they verse Essendon, tough. I know Essendon, we can say we want, but they're at least like a semi-competent football team. Versus Carlton, which either could be a 100-point win or a 10-point loss, depending on. The Swans, always going to be tough, regardless,
Yeah.
right? Brisbane, tough. I know they can't travel, but they're still once again competent football team. And then Port. So their home games are tough. You're not banking in any of those. And if Freo are going to make finals, they need to win all of their home games at a bare minimum. I could see them dropping 2 of them.
Well,
At
even
least.
so, I'm just trying to find. I mean, the Collingwood at the MCG,
The Bulldogs at Marvel.
Bulldogs and Marvel.
Geelong at GMHBA. The
Yeah,
Derby.
Well, I didn't
Yeah,
realize
that
it was
is
actually
tough.
that bad.
That is tough. That
Yikes.
is nightmare.
Yeah, that's no good.
They would need to pull something out of the fire. They'd need to win by a bare minimum all their home games, the Derby, and they would need to beat Geelong or Collingwood, in my opinion. And Geelong at GMHBA is tough, and Collingwood, well, we all know that, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of, yeah.
Tough.
I would say right now that they don't make it too far back. Way too far back.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Look, I say too far back. They're one game outside the 8.
Yeah, but things move quickly. It's
and also they're not home, so yeah.
Yeah, it's. You can say that a lot of teams aren't that far outside the 8, but it just changes so quickly. And look, fair play if they can get up from here.
Oh, it'd be
But
huge.
It'd
be massive.
Yeah.
I don't
doesn't look like it.
I don't see it in the slightest. As we tick over the half-hour mark, so let's move on to the final kind of where are we here? Final talking point. This not football related, but not really football related. Don't have to speak about the games, so that's lucky enough for you because you probably didn't watch any of them. Of course, it's gonna be a pot shot every week. We get it. You're a draft expert. We get it.
Oh, yeah, that's just another one you didn't need to add. But
sorry, every intro. I was watching 18's footy.
You asked what I did on my weekend. That's what I did on the weekend. I didn't say, mate, well, I was adding to my draft expert knowledge and heading. I just went to watch him. So
yeah, you're doing your job, in fairness. But that's what's going on here. Obviously,
beats me. That is
obviously this has been blown up massively by this really isn't an issue, but let's talk about it because it's funny. Essendon have put out a survey kind of I can't remember what the exact term was, but basically they're just saying, do you reckon we should change the badge? Do you reckon we should change the name? What do you reckon we should do? Let's try and modernize the club a bit, Let's try and create a new era. Like we all know, the last 20 years have not been that good for Essendon, to say the least. So kind of new era, fresh beginnings, all those cliches. And some outlets have taken it as they're going to change their name, they're going to change their badge, their logo, they're going to change everything. I mean, I think it's Essendon and St Kilda are the two clubs who haven't changed their logo in 20 years. Do you reckon the logo? We'll touch on the name soon. What do you reckon about the logo? Do you reckon or the badge? It's a logo, right? Not a badge.
Oh, I so want this to be a sidetrack conversation to what's the best logo of all time. Essendon is definitely up there with it's just so bold. I feel like it's a very good logo. In terms of just, I do want to sidetrack quickly, but favorite bold logo was the Richmond logo of 2009 with that tiger on it.
Tiger, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep,
that's up there. But
are we saying badge or logo?
Well, the logo
or the emblem.
That was.
Yeah, who cares?
That's just whatever you want.
We'll call it the symbol.
Symbol.
Sure.
But no, I don't. I'd be so disappointed because it will not. If they redo it, it will not be better.
That's what shits me. That is what shits me. Is that which change has been good? Which badge, logo change, fucking whatever change has been good? Just in sport in general.
You know what? I'm just thinking, Adelaide's was. It's a change, but it kept the. It's just the crow, but a modernized version of the crow, right? Same with Richmond. It's just a modernized version of a tiger. Yeah. Same with Brisbane's wasn't even a lion to it. Well, oh no, theirs was the sort of
The
theirs was
crest.
a good change.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just yeah, it was okay, but like, how do you modernize planes? Assuming it wouldn't actually be
Well,
planes.
that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
What-
So
What's going on here then? Is it going to be a plane?
well,
We assume
yeah.
it would be, right? Because unless they change the name, but they can't change the name, right? Surely it's not that big of a deal. It can't be, right?
You can't, oh, to change the name is like you. Could you imagine like the outrage if even if you went, you just went to Europe and European leagues and you saw a name change like the Chelsea Blues to the Chelsea Reds, like
Yeah, it'd be
in that,
strange.
like in that, it just you
Yeah.
can't just disregard. You just can't disregard that history like that. If you want a new name, you're a new team. You are not the same team.
Well, the Footscray changed to the Western Bulldogs. North
And that's a new
Melbourne were
team.
North
But that's
North
a but and it's a new team. It's like the Western
North
Bulldogs is a new team.
North Melbourne were the Kangaroos at a stage. They were purely just the Kangaroos, and now they're the North Melbourne Kangaroos.
Yeah, I still think it's a new team. Like
They shouldn't
you've
change
got
it now.
history as a different team, but it's a new team.
It's really
It is. It
not.
would be bizarre.
Yeah, surely they can't. Like, but what would you change it to? What would you change it to?
I don't know.
Exactly. Like, there is no thing that you can change it to. Like the couple of things that are synonymous with Essendon, the bomber and that kind of logo and that badge, and the red and black, which is on the logo, and the grey as well. I actually like the grey on it. It's a good contrast. And the sash, but you can't have the sash because Richmond have it as well. You can't just not like that. That's shared, so you can't have anything to do with the sash, right? In terms of your branding, just keep it, right? Surely the name is kept at a minimum.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Come on, like, sure. Yeah, yeah. I know if it gets changed, it will get changed back. Like and you want to show
Leeds.
the leads.
Yeah.
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 Just,
Well, that was
like
awful.
that.
That
There's
sucked.
nothing that says a badge like this.
Yeah,
Like that.
yeah,
Is that
like
not?
a man
That's hard.
with his fist to his heart. Yes, that was that.
It'll get changed back. I could not say.
Yeah, but
It'd
the
have
thing
to
is,
be outstanding. This new thing.
yeah, at least they were still Leeds United and not
Yes.
Leeds Lily Pads or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That.
Imagine if they
Just point
changed the Essendon badge and all of a sudden it's no longer Essendon Bombers, it's the Essendon Tan Buck or something like that. Like just something stupid. You can't.
It won't happen. Surely not.
The badge will get changed, I think.
Nah.
At least modernised. At least modernised.
I still don't even see how you modernise that badge. Like,
There's been some designs. Not good ones,
yeah, but
designs.
the people, the people on Reddit who make these designs, they're never the ones that like the best designs never come from the people who actually they're from people who don't have any influence.
Yeah, the people who get paid to make the decisions aren't actually the best people to make those decisions. Yep. Shockingly. But if you had to, let's do it just for the sake of this exercise. Give him a new name. Give him a new name. I think it has to be like what's synonymous with an airport? The Essendon airports.
The airports are maybe the Essendon terminals or something.
Yeah, that could work. Airport puns. The Essendon customs. There you go.
Well, I mean, the Essendon border securities or something like.
The Essendon border securities.
Yeah,
the Essendon overpriced coffees.
Something
just
like
airport. Just airport. Well, what else is in Essendon? What else is in Essendon? Nothing.
Essendon
Zero.
Airport's not even in Essendon to begin with. It's like,
Yeah, it is. Well,
does
there's a
it fall in
DFO.
it?
There's a
Does
DFO.
that fall in Essendon? I don't know if it
I'm on
actually
the.
falls. Anyways,
We're on the other side of the state of the city.
so
We're not there. Um,
you know,
I was about to say something like quite funny. Oh yeah, they've got a DFO. So you can call them like
so
the the Essendon the Essendon Nike store, something like that. Well, what else is there in Essendon? What
I
else
don't
is there?
know, but there is literally nothing yet because
They should name every club based on like the suburb based on something that's prevalent. So it'd be like the Carlton Pizza, naturally.
yeah,
St Kilda Beach, naturally. Fitzroy, what's in Fitzroy?
Fitzroy garage parties.
Yeah, yes, Fitzroy Garage Parties. That works. Collingwood, what's in Collingwood? What's in Collingwood?
Mate, there's two trains
Oh,
on top of a building in Collingwood that is a very good restaurant actually.
there you go. Restaurant recommendations.
Yeah.
The Collingwood graffiti. There's a lot of graffiti in
Yeah.
Collingwood, isn't there? Yeah, sure, we'll go
Yes.
that. The Richmond's, Richmond pub. There's a lot of pubs in Richmond. The Richmond pub.
Yeah. Yes.
Richmond
Yep.
pub. What's it? Footscray. There's nothing out there. It's fine.
Right.
Just west.
Footscray Victorian University, mate. It's
Oh, there you go.
yeah, that's what's in Footscray.
Footscray, and then JWS. What would that be? JWS. Nothing. They're going to you because nothing's there.
Mate, I told you, just call them the Parramatta Eels and people will turn up to their games.
I hate you. So
the GWS Eels.
there's JWS Eels, and then the Sydney Harbour Bridge is Bridges. Yeah, Sydney Harbour Bridges. The Brisbane or Gold Coast theme parks, naturally.
Yeah,
that works. Brisbane.
Yes.
What's in Brisbane?
Mate, the Olympics in 2032. So just
just call
them as a sponsor.
Bris Vegas. Just no last name, just Bris Vegas, and then Perth just Fremantle Beach and West Coast hot weather, and then Adelaide Churches, and then Port Adelaide. What's the river? Torrens.
Sure. Torrens, yeah.
The Port Adelaide Torrens and the Adelaide. What I say the other one was? Churches. That's it. That's going to piss off a lot of people in South Australia so much. Anyways, we get sidetracked naturally, as we always do. But yeah. Anyways, that was a thing. They shouldn't change the name.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Well, Essendon Hangers.
I don't think that would probably pass. For other reasons.
Well, isn't the training facility called the Hangar?
The Hangar, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I can't believe that got the pass.
But also, the S I think is important there.
Yes.
The S changes the meaning. Yeah. The S changes the meaning to something that
it does.
Probably doesn't pass the PR check. Probably not. Although it would be funny to see it get passed, in fairness. Okay, let's move on to buy rounds. Assessments as we finish things up. Carlton, GWS, Port, North, Bulldogs, Richmonds. Let's get over and done with just for completion's sake, just so we can finish things up. Carlton, good start, shit middle, good Sunday. That's my summation.
Yeah, I'm not awfully sure what it was. But was it a good start? When we look at teams now, we're thinking, like, well, maybe that start was actually reflective of what the season was going to be. You look at Richmond, who have been, so up and down.
Yeah, you can only bet who's in front of you, but
yeah, definitely. I mean, Geelong, same. Haven't really
Giants.
To keep it short. Yeah, frustrating. All that potential, but it just hasn't seemed to happen. And it's, I don't know if it's a mental thing, whether they just really can't break down that barrier that they were that close, and but it's just fundamentals clearly have gotten worse, which I'm not sure how that happens. I don't know how you can get
Can regress.
regress. Yeah, just look if it just is odd. And you can say the same for St Kilda in the sense that they just got better all of a sudden. Like, how do
Yeah,
you also just get really good at it with a new coach? Like, where like those skills were still there for the most part
yeah,
last year. So
yeah.
yeah, look, nothing to smile about. That's the harsh
Sunday was
reality.
okay. Sunday was
Yeah,
okay.
Sunday was good, but
We
just
kicked goals.
disappointing. Yes, it was fantastic in that respect, but
Yeah.
yeah, another
Yeah.
season gone. You just
Nah,
regret and
flaggers,
frustrating. All that potential. Yeah, well,
flaggers.
your stats indicate we should be about 21-0, and we should be
Fine.
winning the premiership at this point. But
I need to come up with a stat for the bye week. That's what I need to come up with.
well, it would be based on a result that happens from this week. So,
Yeah, but we didn't have the bye in 1995. So,
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
so I was looking at the other day. I was trying to go off ladder places and like percentage, trying to do some maths.
yeah.
And it doesn't work. Anyways, yeah, let's move on from Carlton because we don't speak about that team on the show. The GWS Giants, next
Giants.
team. I love this club. I love the club's the team. Oh,
Team, yes, okay, yeah.
oh,
Well, I'll agree on you with that part. The team,
the
yeah,
team is
entertaining
so
to
good.
watch.
I love the team.
Yes,
They're like the best bottom five team ever, in my opinion.
they're just exciting. They've got energy because they know they have nothing to play for. Like,
But
well,
even at the
actually,
start,
funnily enough, they do now.
well, they're on 5 wins, aren't they?
Well, they're 11th. They're only a game out of the 8. Given they
Oh,
don't have,
gee, I forgot
they
about that.
actually they actually have something to play for, which is
I didn't
crazy to
realize.
think about. But yeah, you can see there's a lot of synergy in that team. They enjoy playing with each other. Young core that is definitely going to.
Yeah,
It will improve as the years go on. Yeah, their thing now is just not regressing. Like,
yeah, yeah.
they've got something. They've got something now. So yeah, whether they can build on it or not, you can accept pretty harsh losses for the rest of the season. No one's going to say, "Well, geez, like you're in trouble."
Yeah. Sack the coach,
But
maybe. Yeah, I agree.
6 and 8, yeah. At this point, you.
Take it.
Oh, where did I have them? I think I had them bottom 4, and I'm guessing you had them same or just a bit higher. So
Yeah.
yeah, you give them a easy pass mark.
Oh yeah, I love their team so much. Like Kelly has found his form. Kelly has found his form unbelievably. So best team outside of Vic is a big call.
That is,
It's a big call. I reckon probably top three most exciting teams. Definitely,
yes, yeah,
definitely for sure. Kelly's found his form back. He's having, I wouldn't say career best year, but he's playing really well. Cornelio as well. Kelly's not even playing in the middle; he's playing on the wing and he's dominating. They've pushed Callahan into the guts and he's doing superb stuff. Tom Green, star. Toby Green, top three player in the comp. Unbelievable footballer, like so good. Even Jack Ricard is kicking goals. Jesse Hogan is playing well. Briggs is arguably the most informed ruckman in the comp at the moment. Sam Taylor down backs returned from injury and has played very well. Even Jack Buckley, who's come in this season and has been that deputy, really has done that deputy role quite well. Rocky Ashoff half back, Brett Daniels forward. I could go on about this team for ages. I think they are so good. Like if they push this year and can finish like maybe 12th, 13th as a kind of overall, I think I wouldn't put them out of contention for finals next year, to be honest. Maybe it's one of those things where they jump up and then they fall back down and then they have to go back up again. But I wouldn't be surprised if they jump up this year and then just push up again because I think their squad and their system overall is very, very good. Maybe if they lose Himmelberg, it might change because he's been very good for them, especially down back in the absence of Sam Taylor in particular. But no, I rate them. I rate them highly.
so they were. It would be worth finishing lower just for a better draft pick for them because, like, what have they got to lose in that sense? Like, they don't make finals. It means like no one would. I don't think anyone would be too upset in the club. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the teams below them: Sydney, Carlton, Freo, Gold Coast. Yeah, I really could only see Gold Coast and Sydney jumping
Yeah.
at this point in time. Yeah, like I might be close, but yeah, they'll probably will finish no lower than 13th.
Which is insane if you said that to people at the
Yeah,
start of the year, whatever it was. But I mean, if we look at their run home, Melbourne are TIO. That's Alice Springs. That TIO.
yeah,
Yeah, that's up for grabs because that game's
unlikely.
gonna. Well, it's gonna be a scrap. So
True, but Melbourne know they can play the
play it
conditions
well.
well.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. Yeah,
The Hawks at Giant Stadium. They should win.
yeah,
Adelaide was going to be tough.
no.
They've got the Suns at Monaco. Should win. Suns don't travel. We know that.
Yeah, but they've lost the last 8 games at Monaco, haven't they? Not the last
Have
7.
they?
So yeah, it's the last 7.
Oh,
I'm definitely last 7. Don't know if it's last 8.
there you go. The Bulldogs in Ballarat's going to be tough. Giant Stadium, the Derby at Giant, the Derby at Giant Stadium is going to be tough. Port's going to be tough at Adelaide Oval, and then they finish the season with Carlton at Marvel in the last round, and then the Bombers in that Giant Stadium in the penultimate round. Going to be interesting. Going to be really interesting. See whether or not
Yeah,
they can do something magical, because it'll be good to see because I rate their team highly. Anyways,
yeah.
moving on once again. Port Adelaide. We'll just do them as I've got them down on the run sheet. Port. Like no, you know what? I'll take the reins. I'll take the reins this time.
I'll gladly take it, please.
They're good. Hey, they're good. They're really good. They proved again on the weekend. They're good. They proved again on the weekend. They're good.
Yeah, they're good, aren't they?
Ken Hinkley has shut the haters up big time. 11-game win streak, 10-game win streak, something like that. Which
How have they done that?
because
Sorry, but how have they done it?
Because they're good at football, Nathan. They're good at football.
Yeah, well, look, I'll agree with you, but yeah, they're still not winning a premiership. I don't.
Sure?
No, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure.
What if they beat? They'll play at the G again this year. They
Play
currently
Essendon,
top.
don't they, in 2 weeks?
That is at the G. What if they beat Essendon at the G? Comfortably. 10 goals. Smash them.
Yeah, but that wouldn't surprise me though, because we remember even when
Oh, we get it. You hate every club in the.
I do hate a lot. Well, I think I said this a lot last year. When your team has been bad for so long, you can see it in other clubs. You can see the faults much easier because we know what bad football looks like.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just I don't know. They've been great, but it's giving very Melbourne last year vibes the way they're going, like peaking. Yeah. Who's going to stop them? You never know. They might continue the form. There's no guarantee they've peaked. Like they could go on and keep doing this, but I'm not sure. I just think I don't know. There's just not a lot of when I'm looking at games. If you put them up against Collingwood and Melbourne, you don't look at them and think they're a definite. Like they're still,
Okay.
They'll be very interesting. I'm excited to see what happens with them because, look, I've said so much about them and seemingly been so wrong about them. So it's somehow it feels like what I've said about Port has been worse than what you said about Collingwood. Like your Collingwood comment has, gone under the radar a little bit when it has arguably been way worse than my Port prediction.
No, yours is worse. You said that Kenningley will be sacked. You said
well, he really should have after when they lost to Adelaide of all teams.
They won 10 in a row. That he should not have been sacked.
Well, yeah. Well, I just don't understand how they've done it. It baffles me how they've done it.
Because they're good at football. That's why. Because they're good at football. That's right. Anyway, before we move on, Bergman potentially on the trade table for Port. He was very good on Thursday night. Kept Jeremy Cameron impactless. That's not a word. Let's go with it. Negated Jeremy Cameron brilliantly, which very few people are able to do. One of those players that could upset, if he does leave, could upset the kind of continuity in that back six. Obviously, Tom Jonas hasn't returned to the team, I don't think. I know they're obviously not like for like, but obviously that back six quite has that continuity within them now. He'd be a good get for anyone who can pick him up. So there you go. Moving on now, from the top to the bottom we go. North Melbourne, another slightly poor performance on the weekend against the Dogs.
I think they're tracking the way they should be. Like, I don't.
Yeah, I agree.
They're a pass mark because they haven't
embarrassed
done
themselves.
work. Yeah, they haven't really. Yeah, like, to be fair, they've pretty much taken it up to most teams. Like, I'm just trying to, like, Collingwood's probably, they got rid of him early, but like,
no, but even the Collingwood game, okay.
No, well, I was just gonna say, like, even even Essendon, which I still think is very telling of how Essendon are going, that Essendon North game. But like, they take it up to teams. Like, they don't. You go in thinking you're going to beat North, but you're not going to do it as easily as how you're going to beat West Coast.
Yeah,
that's what North are at the moment.
North can hurt you. North have the weapons, like Zohar weapon, Larky, Wardlaw's come in and shown just how good he can be, right? So they have weapons. I mean, like only lost by Collingwood. Only lost Collingwood by 5 goals. I know Collingwood aren't a team that notoriously put the foot down, but still a respectable result. Got robbed against Sydney. Maybe not robbed, but they should have won that game against Sydney.
Yeah.
They got pantsed by Melbourne at the G. Fair, like, that's probably disappointing. But even against Carlton, they relatively held their own for 3 quarters. Beat Freo over there. They're just tracking along. Like, they're just ticking along. Nothing too alarming. They're not that great, but I don't think many people expected them to be that, but to be great. So it's kind of fair enough, right?
Yep.
Moving on again, second last team that have the bye, the Dogs. Interesting, because I think we spoke about them not long ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Weird.
I still think they're at the exact same point they were last year. I don't think they've changed at all. They can either be the best team in the competition or the worst team in the competition.
Yep, 100% agree.
I don't know how they haven't, how it hasn't changed. Like, just naturally, you'd think it's sort of teams have 1 year where they're on and off. Like, but they're continuing that trend.
Yeah.
So, like, and that's the thing. I think that's what we spoke about, is like how they do in finals is literally dependent on whether they're on their on streak or they're off streak.
Off streak, yeah. 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Like that's what it comes down to, because like they're capable, they've got the assets, and it's literally whether they turn it on at the right time. They'll get to finals, you'd assume, unless I don't know what their run home is, but you would just assume they're good enough where they will have to have a pretty big downfall to not make it, and they could beat anyone given they're in the right form. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah, when we look at their last 4. Lost to the Suns, disappointing. Lost to the Cats, disappointing. Lost to Port, disappointing. Beat North, which they needed, but then they also destroyed Adelaide, beat Carlton, beat the Giants, beat Hawthorn, beat Freo over there quite convincingly, beat Richmond at the G, beat Brisbane. So it's like, Hoover.
Now that you say that, their wins haven't been over like real top teams, now that you've said that back.
Yeah. Well, they've got
like some decent wins.
But not against big teams. Like Freo over there's a good win, but Freo aren't good, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah.
They've got Sydney at the G in 3 weeks. The week before, they got the Pies at Marvel, the Bombers at Marvel, and the Cats at GMHB at the end of the year. So those 4 games will probably be their toughest remaining. They get in, right? They're probably just scraping, yeah?
Yeah.
I agree, but I don't think they'll do much.
I can't give a judgment.
Prediction,
I really liked. Yeah.
Fair enough. Finishing things up, the Tigers. They're 2 points outside of the 8. Somehow,
they love no expectation is
Yeah.
what we've
And because of that,
noticed. And
they'll make finals, in my
yeah,
opinion.
well, but it's as soon as it's like, oh, okay, Tigers they're back, they can make finals. They drop a game. It's like, okay, now we don't care about them. Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
No, we'll beat a decent team.
Yeah.
Like we're around, but oh, can you read their run home and then I'll give my prediction?
Brisbane at the Gabba. Tough.
Yep.
Sydney at the G. Yeah, 50-50.
No,
Probably
winnable.
60,
Nah,
60, yeah,
winnable.
60
At the
40.
moment. Yeah.
West Coast at Optus, 4:40 on a Sunday. That's got upset written all over it. That's got graveyard
Oh,
shift.
well.
Actually, probably not. Nah, probably not. Hawthorn at the G, Melbourne at the G, the Dogs and the Saints at Marvel, and then North at the G and Port over there.
Well, even that's still throwing me off. No, I don't think they make it. I just don't think their list is
Really?
capable of. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to get sucked into this form they're in.
Yeah. Tom Lynch
do
probably
think,
won't be back till finals if they get there.
I just don't think it's sustainable. That list, I just don't think they're going to be able to perform that well for more than like 3 or 4 weeks in a row. So they're always a chance, but I'm just not too set on them yet. I just am not. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Good when they're winning, but yeah, there's probably too big a gap between their best and their worst.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the expectation type thing where it's like at their best, they're just playing freely and it works, and at their worst, it gets exposed. They finally learned how to win close games, especially against the Giants, which is something that has plagued them. They plagued them quite heavily. So, yeah, interesting season for them, back end especially. Games they should win, games they probably would expect to be non-favorites in. If they can poach that game against the Demons at the G, Bulldogs at Marvel, those type of games, even the Saints at Marvel is going to be tough. It depends how they go in those 50-50 games. If they can win if they can 50-50 those 50-50 games, I think they'll win. I think they could scrape in, but they'll be borderline anyway. 10th to 7th max for them, in my opinion. Yeah. Righto. That's all for the content, the talking point portion of the show. Let's move on to previews and tipping from last week. I think I actually won. Did I win the round last week?
3-3.
Oh, no. It was 3-3. It was 3-3. So I didn't win.
Yeah, although your one round streak. It's coming to an end.
Shame. Although, what tip I did get right? Oh, the Giants. Yeah. I was proud of that. Anyways, let's go. Next round. Who starts? Or what game starts? Geelong at Melbourne. JMHBA.
Oh. Geelong will win this, won't they? They'll roll them like
really?
Unexpectedly. Yeah, I don't know. Like I keep saying, oh yeah, Melbourne will win in like better form, but my gut tells me Geelong. I don't know why. I just don't. I just have this feeling they'll win. Not with any confidence. I just think Geelong will win.
I've got Geelong as well. I think the Cats will win. St Kilda versus Brisbane at Marvel Stadium. Do you want to know the odds on this one? 205 St Kilda, 177 Brisbane.
Yeah, that seems right based off St Kilda last week. I think that's put a few doubts in people's minds a little bit.
I know. I've got my tip.
Can you give your tip first, and I'll go against you because I'm actually really 50-50 on it.
I'm 50-50 as well. I'm really 50-50. Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Okay, I'll go Brisbane.
I'll go with the Saints. I'll back them in. Sydney versus West Coast at the SCG. Once again, there's no 140, there's no 210 game or 145 game on a Saturday. Good on you, Gil.
Cool.
That's great. Yeah. That's great fixturing, mate. Lovely stuff.
Swans.
If Sydney don't win this, If Sydney
Mate,
don't win,
back to South Melbourne.
if Sydney don't win this, I'll quit this show. There.
Oh, mate, this will turn into the draft show, man.
Oh, God. The draw of the get. Freo versus the Bombers at Optus. And guess who's favourites?
Oh, Essendon, surely.
Freo, 171 to 2.
Seriously? Oh, that's stiff on Essendon based off their form.
Yeah, I know.
If this was Freo from not 2 weeks ago, I'd say Freo. But yeah, another gut one just says Essendon. Essendon do travel well, especially in Perth. They always tend to knock them off in Perth, so I will go Essendon.
I agree, as I write down the Bombers on the piece of paper. Or it could be the Essendon, the Essendon Concreters by this time next week, who knows? Collingwood versus Adelaide at the G.
Yeah, the game that decides my fate of whether I'll be on this show or not next weekend.
Yeah.
But seriously, this should be an absolute romping from Collingwood.
Yeah, Collingwood.
Because as soon as Collingwood put two or three goals in a row, that team collapses.
Yeah, forget about it. Yeah.
So should be
Collingwood convincingly. I agree. And the Suns versus the Hawks at Heritage Bank to finish off the round.
Oh yeah, I'm actually. Yeah, no, it will be Gold Coast because they'll bounce back.
Yeah.
Because Hawks will be competitive, but they are. It's if it was in Melbourne, I'd go with Hawthorn, but up there, Suns.
So we're only different on one, and that is the Friday night game. So there you go. Boring again, as always. I need to catch up. What is it? 74 to 60. I need to catch up. Big time. It's all right. I'll use my double points. I'll win it off double points. Thank you all very much for watching again. Another episode of The Rest. Thank you very, very much for sticking around. As if you have, stuck around, it would means the world. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to a Blue Broad YouTube channel. So follow both of us on Twitter at @R_Y_stammer at Nath Seppi. See you guys next week, where we last round of buys this week. Thank God for that. We can actually watch proper games of football and speak about a full round, which is great. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. See you guys.